What's going on, everyone? Ramtide here. For today I want to go over the new update for Battlefield 1 and all of the changes that are being implemented with this update. Now I'm only going to be touching on the highlights for this video. If you guys are interested in seeing every single thing that they've changed, all the way from the multiplayer aspect to the single player, feel free to check out the description below. I'll leave a link to the patch notes there. First up, they implemented the rental server program with this update. As you can see, there are the prices for the PC and the consoles. Now remember, with the rental server program, you will not be able to kick nor ban people from your server at this time. They did say that that is one of the most requested features and that they're going to be looking into implementing that soon. And they did say soon after the implementation of it, so hopefully within the next few weeks you'll be able to do that with your server. Now, when it comes to the multiplayer aspect, they made a lot of changes, a lot of tweaks and balances to maps and weapons and even game modes. First up is the operations game mode. The original default for this game mode was 40 for the player count, and they have increased that to 64. However, they still do have 64 and 40 man servers for this game mode. For this game mode, they wanted to increase the effectiveness of the attacking team, so they increased the overall tickets that the attacking team has. Personally, I think this was a terrible decision. Overall, I think the game mode has a solid foundation. It was just implemented poorly. But that's something to say for a separate video itself. They also made it to where there's reduced times to capture a base, and at the same time, once you took a sector, you could kill enemies that were retreating within that sector, and you would gain tickets back. It used to be 2 tickets, now you're going to gain 3. They also made some changes to the conquest map Suez. So they did add 2 more maps, although it's still going to be completely linear. This should change the map up considerably, but we'll see if it's going to be enough to really make the map much better than what it was previously. Now, one change that I really like, that I was interested to see them do, is when it comes to squad leaders and them not giving out squad orders. They made us aware if you request an order from a squad leader and they do not give out an order within 60 seconds, then you will become the new squad leader. I like this change because squad orders are much more important now in this particular game compared to the previous ones. As for weapon balances, they have made a lot of changes when it comes to the light machine guns. These are changes that they really needed to make because the light machine guns were not really a viable option in this game and people just were not going to them. So 2 major things they did was increase the bullet suppression at medium range along with increasing the accuracy of these weapons as well. And one major change is when it comes to the low weight versions of some of the machine guns, those now gain accuracy much faster while firing. I'm excited to check out some of these particular changes because it may actually make the support class and the light machine guns a much more viable option. That takes us into the gadgets portion of this as well, because one of the major problems with the support class was that the mortars were a bit overpowered. As you may remember from Battlefield 4, you couldn't just rapid fire the mortar and remain completely accurate. However, for Battlefield 1 you could, so they did change this and they made it to where it's not fully accurate immediately. This essentially makes it to where you have to pick between slow and accurate fire or quick fire that's not going to be near as accurate. They did add in a feature to tell you when your mortar was at its maximum accuracy as well, and it is the red dot that you see when you're picking out where to shoot on the map. So when the red dot appears, that means it's at its maximum accuracy. Another thing they did to balance this out and reduce its effectiveness is to reduce the max damage radius of the airburst mortars. This means that the shell will have to be much more closer to the enemy in order to do its maximum damage of 65. Another addition is that both support mortars are now going to be able to fire 2 smoke rounds on top of the regular rounds that they already shoot. And one major feature as well that I was going to make a video about, but I guess I don't have to now, is that the HE mortar has the same range as the airburst mortar. Previously, the HE shell had noticeably less range, and it was a major pain to use it effectively because the HE shell is supposed to be for taking out vehicles, not infantry, and you had to get much closer to the vehicle in order to do damage to it. They changed the rifle grenade around as well. They decreased the time of the explosion for the frag shell after it has collided with something. It was previously 1.1 second, now it is 0.7. However, they did add a minimum time of 1 second before it will explode after it's shot. As for the HE version, the blast radius has been reduced from 7 meters to 6 meters, and they've also increased the minimum time before explosion after firing. Previously it was 0.3 seconds, now it's 0.75. Now there was one bug with the flares, both from the scout spotting flare and from the airplane flares, to where they wouldn't work if you died or exited the vehicle. They have changed this to where they will continue to work once you've died or gotten out of the plane. Another interesting change that they made was with the syringe. The syringe's damage to enemies now scales with how long the player has held the button down. Hopefully this ties in with the visual representation of the syringe as well. For scout rifles in general, they have reduced the damage that they're capable of doing to plane parts. However, they have increased the damage of the K bullets against attack planes. They also removed a delay between being able to fire your primary or secondary weapon after deploying a gadget or throwing a grenade. This is something that has agitated me time and time again. There have been a lot of times where I've thrown a grenade and then try to shoot an enemy, and there's a second to 2 seconds that I just can't shoot, and that was long enough for them to kill me. They have changed a lot of things when it comes to the vehicles as well, such as with the planes and increasing the bomber killer bullet velocity, along with improving the bomber's torpedoes versus land targets. But for you guys that are really into planes, I will say this: they have nerfed the AA cannons. So what they did was decrease the damage that they're capable of doing against planes and the plane parts. Along with that, they have reduced the AA trucks range as well. I do like these changes, as it was noticeable that the AA cannons were much more powerful against planes than they should have been, so this will really help you guys out that like to fly planes. The last change I want to point out is when it comes to vehicles that can deploy mines. Previously you could only deploy 3 active mines at a time. Now you're going to be able to deploy up to 6 mines. So these were just some of the changes that really stood out to me. I think overall they did a good job with this, or at least from the patch notes they did. I haven't had an opportunity to play this yet, but we'll see. I do look forward to checking out the operations game mode. I don't think it's going to be any better. I think it's actually going to be worse. I do look forward to checking out the LMGs and seeing how these changes impact those. Hopefully it'll make them a much more viable option, especially with the nerf that they did to the mortars. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you want to take a look at the rest of the patch notes, feel free to do that. The description to that, once again, will be down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a good day. RavenProDesign out.